You should see. Sup, storytellers of tomorrow, Gable here. It's February. You know what that means? Valentine's Day is coming up and you're still single! Jokes aside though, StoryCon is coming up from the 27th to the 28th of this month. It'll be down in Salt Lake at the Salt Palace, and you guys definitely should go if you're interested in storytelling or in learning how to craft a good narrative. I will be there, Brandon Sanderson will be there, more importantly I will be there. There are going to be so many authors down there you can connect with, a lot of friends you can meet. This is really the perfect place for you to learn how to refine the craft of storytelling. So February 27th to the 28th, make sure you're there. It's time. That's right, today we're talking about how to create a story, but not just any story, oh no. Today we're talking about how to create a story the world needs. So if you're here to learn how to write a steamy, sexy romance novel, get out. The world is in desperate need of better stories. I went on a whole rant about this in my last video. You guys should go check that out. But I stand by what I said. We need a renaissance of stories that teach moral truths. We need more Aesop's fables, more Grimm's fairy tales, more parables like those taught by Christ. I am a firm believer that if your story isn't teaching a lesson in some way, it's not a story. It's just mindless entertainment. Fight me on that. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's learn how to craft a story, from the basic idea to the generation of the outline. And if you already have a story idea, that's great. Maybe something in this video can help you learn how to refine it and make it better than the masterpiece I'm sure it already is. First thing we're going to talk about is theme! Theme is the backbone of your story, the figurative trumpet in your grand orchestra. It could be a moral truth, it could be a call to action, could be a thought to ruminate on. Theme is something you want your readers to remember even after they're finished with your story. And I cannot stress enough that your theme should run through every aspect of your story. You should see the theme in the lives of your characters, in your main plots, in your subplots, in me mom's car. Always ask yourself before crafting your story, what does the world need more of right now? What is a message I would share with the world if I could? Once you answer these questions, the rest of your story will be so much easier to craft. You'll know how to fill in certain scenes, you'll know what fatal flaws to give your characters, you'll know what lesson you want your characters to learn in the end. Never forget the theme! Now for the fun part, getting an idea for your story. It's time for some imagination. Now that you have a theme that you want to teach, you need to craft your story around it. If your theme is about how the world needs more love and less hatred, what kind of story structure would best help convey that? A war epic? A star-crossed romance? The possibilities are endless, and that's really where a lot of writers get stuck. Maybe you have really good ideas for characters, but you're having a hard time figuring out the world they belong in, or a kind of plot that they could go through that will really hook your readers. Let's talk about that. If you want to get good inspiration for story ideas, then you need to saturate yourself in things that inspire you, whether that be music, movies, or even books. Think about this. Is there a story from your life that you wish you could tell in a different way? Is there a local legend from your hometown that you've always found intriguing? Has something happened in history or in current events that's gotten you really riled up or motivated? These kind of things can be springboards to great inspiration. Best-selling author Leigh Bardugo got her inspiration for her Shadow and Bone trilogy by asking herself, what if darkness was a place, and what if the monsters that lived there were real? Isn't that an intriguing concept? The legendary Brandon Sanderson also gives advice by saying that we could borrow story structure from movies and books we enjoy. If you like a thrilling heist novel or a Regency romance, dive a little bit further into that. Do you think you could make a story like that? Better yet, can you put a good spin on it? Like, what if you combined a Hallmark Christmas romance with a murder mystery? Or a John Wayne-esque cowboy adventure with a dragon treasure hunt? That's actually a really good idea. I recommend carrying a little notebook with you, or having a notes section open on your phone so that whenever these ideas strike, you have a place to write them down. Above all, take those little ideas and think about which one can best help convey your theme! Next, we're going to talk about promises. Now that you have an idea for your story, you need to develop a firm understanding of what you're promising your reader. Readers don't like to be disappointed. They want fulfillment to their expectations. If you start off your book having it be a kind of high school slice of life soap opera, and then halfway through you make it a gory zombie apocalypse story, your readers are just going to be like, you have to know what you're promising when you're establishing your theme, otherwise your story's just going to be like a pinball machine bouncing back and forth between random, unrelated points. If you could condense your story into one sentence, what would that be? Contained in that sentence should be what you're promising your readers. Keep that promise in mind and make sure you fulfill it. Now we get to the bread and butter of storytelling. It's time for characters! I'm sure I don't have to explain it to you that characters are the emotional heart and soul of your story. They're the eyes that we experience your story through. No matter how cool your world building or your premise may be, your story is gonna fall flat on its face if it doesn't have compelling characters your audience can relate with. Always ask yourself before creating your story, what kind of people do I need to best help me convey my theme? If the lesson you're trying to convey in your story is about courage and being true to yourself, then your main character in some way needs to learn that. Maybe they could start off timid, trying to fit in, and because of insecurities they land in the wrong crowd. And because I love fantasy, we're gonna throw in some wizards in there. How does your main character learn to love and accept themselves while at the same time fighting off the evil wizards? And always remember that your characters need problems! Make your characters unhappy and unfulfilled in their lives. I know it sounds mean, but take a look at Victor Hugo, the man who literally wrote a book called Les Miserables. Remember that conflict and not convenience is what drives a story. No one wants to read or watch something where the characters get everything they could possibly want and they don't have to struggle for anything. I'm sorry, millennials, but that's not how it works. It's through your characters' conflicts, through their struggles, that your theme comes out the most. What do your characters want? What keeps them from getting that? And what do they need to learn in order to actually get what they need? Last of all, we're gonna talk about the outline. There are lots of different ways you can outline your story, but in this video, I'm just gonna keep it really basic and maybe touch on it a little bit more further down the road. Now that you have your theme, your idea, and your characters that you're gonna put through a lot of problems, you need to figure out how to bring those all together in a beautiful marriage. The most basic and memorable of any story structure is outlined in Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. It starts off with an introduction to your main character, or the ordinary world, and then the call to action, the introduction to the conflict, what gets them out the door. Next comes the crossing of the threshold, or the step into the unknown that your protagonist has to take. Then come the challenges and temptations, each of which push your protagonist and develop their growth a little bit further. Nearing the end, the darkest moment, the point of no return, in which your hero is almost about to give up, but then they receive a revelation that makes them reborn! After that, the climax, the final showdown in which your reborn hero comes out in full swing against the big bad. And after that, the resolution, in which your protagonist returns to ordinary life, either having been changed or having changed the world. If you paid attention, you could probably name several stories or movies that follow this pattern. You don't have to follow this pattern per se, but it is a general idea that can help you get started. You can arrange any number of scenes or plot lines using Joseph Campbell's hero's journey as a basic guideline. In the end, you have to think about your theme and think about what challenges, growth, or rebirth your characters have to experience in order to learn the lessons you're trying to teach. In conclusion, my dear storytellers of tomorrow, always remember, what is your theme? What message does the world need right now? Get inspired and study story structure to develop an idea that is unique and original. Keep your promises in mind and fulfill them. Create characters that communicate the theme and keep pushing them. And finally, develop an outline that highlights your protagonist's growth. That's it! Follow these steps and you'll be on your way to creating a good, memorable story the world needs right now. Before I close off, I just wanted to leave you with this. Remember that you have a voice and experiences that are powerful and important. There are billions of people in this world, but there is only one unique you. You getting your story out there is how your voice is heard. Someone out there, I don't know who, but someone out there is in desperate need of your story. So why are you hesitating to write it? Don't try to conform to the world and let it bury you under all of its suffocating voices. Stand up, stand out, and go tell a story the world needs. And with that, storytellers of tomorrow, I will see you all next week. Let the light shine brightly upon your way.